So I'm from the School of Cities, and I'd like to welcome you to today's session featuring Dr. Noa Yaari. And before we begin the session, I'd like to start with a land acknowledgement. The land on which University of Toronto operates is covered by Treaty 13 with the traditional lands of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit, and continues to be the gathering space of many Indigenous, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island. As we envision the future of our land and cities, we encourage doing so with values of reconciliation, equity, and justice in mind. A truly just future is one where we can acknowledge and work to repair our damages from the past. And Knowledge Café is brought to you by the School of Cities, the University of Toronto's multidisciplinary Center for Urban Research, Education, Engagement, and we're dedicated to discovering new ways for cities and their residents to thrive. The Knowledge Café at the School of Cities is a monthly speaking opportunities for members of the tri-campus community at U of T to present insights and highlights of their research on a theme that is important and relevant to urban environments. It provides a platform for faculty, students, and researchers who are working to uncover solutions to create more just, equitable, sustainable, and prosperous cities. Today's session features Dr. Noa Yaari, who will be discussing the use of generative AI and how we may use it to imagine the future of our cities. Dr. Yaari is an artist, entrepreneur, and a communication instructor at the Institute for Studies in Transdisciplinary Engineering, Education, and Practice, or ISTEP, which is also at the University of Toronto. She specializes in knowledge creation and mobilization through multimedia, especially combinations of words and images. She also explores generative AI tools for her art and pedagogical work. In her teaching, she promotes creativity, problem solving, and entrepreneurship. And just before we begin, I'd like to cover a couple of housekeeping rules. Today's session will be recorded, and we ask attendees to keep their mics on mute for duration of Dr. Yaari's presentation. We encourage you to put any questions you may have in the chat throughout, and they will be collected and answered at the end of the session. And please practice good etiquette. People demonstrating inappropriate language or behavior will be removed. And before any further ado, Dr. Yaari, this is your floor. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Noor. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'm excited to be here. And I also want to thank the School of Cities for organizing this session. And let's begin. Okay. Noor, can we see that?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to read the text. Usually I don't read in presentations, but this time I will. But I think you will understand why. What is Microsoft Copilot? According to Microsoft, Copilot is an AI-powered digital assistant designed to help users with a range of tasks and activities on their devices. Such tasks include answering questions, generating charts, graphs, and images, and analyzing data. The app combines the power of generative AI with up-to-date information from the web. While working on my presentation, I encountered unexpected technical challenges, which I integrated into my exercise in storytelling to a certain extent. I had to decide how much time and attention to give those challenges. On the one hand, they were important because they taught me how Copilot and other generative AI tools might function as assistants to gather information and visually illustrate a story. I wanted to share those challenges and my attempts to solve them with you so that you will have a sense of these tools' promise and room for improvement. On the other hand, I kept telling myself, move on. You have a narrative to convey about future cities and experiences, and Copilot is, after all, a tool to help you do so. The tool, the heart and soul of the tool, shouldn't be the core of the story. As you will see, the result, which has a form of a dialogue, is the tension between these two stances on how to design and articulate content using AI. This while practicing a critical point of view. I hope that by the end of the story, you'll feel lucky for being here, and I'm looking forward to hearing any thoughts and questions you might have. Troy. According to Google AI Overview, which is a new feature on search, a Trojan horse is a type of malware that disguises itself as a legitimate program or software to gain access to a network. Once inside, the attacker can perform actions like deleting or modifying files or exporting data. But there is another meaning to the phrase. Trojan horse is based on the probably mythological tale of how the ancient Greeks tricked the Trojans to end the Trojan War, which took place around the 12th, 13th centuries BC and lasted for a decade. Virgil's Aeneid and Homer's Odyssey are the major sources of the Trojan horse story, as they tell how Odysseus, king of Ithaca, came up with the idea to end the decade-long siege on Troy with a gift. Copilot. What was Odysseus' idea for ending the Trojan War? Copilot. I'm quoting. Odysseus came up with the ingenious idea of the Trojan horse to end the Trojan War. He suggested building a large wooden horse and hiding a select group of Greek soldiers inside it. The Greeks pretended to abandon the siege and left the horse as a supposed offering to the goddess Athena. The Trojans, believing they had won, brought the horse into their city. At night, the Greek soldiers emerged from the horse, opened the city gate for the rest of the Greek army, and thus Troy was captured. It's a fascinating story of strategy and planning. Are you interested in Greek mythology? Me. Actually, according to the story, the Trojan horse resulted in the Greek army defeating Troy, which was already captured and besieged by it. This event ended the Trojan War. Anyway, prompt. Can you create an image of the Trojan horse inside Troy that looks like a photo? Thanks, Copilot. Me. Prompt. Can you create a photorealistic image of the Greek soldiers inside the horse waiting for the command to exit it? Since the event occurred at night, please ensure the image considers this factor. Hey, this is the image we created yesterday when we discussed the Pashupatinath temple in Kathmandu and created an image of it. Also, and interestingly, this image is only 25% of yesterday's image, although with the same resolution of 96 dpi. Anyway, I see you are offering me 3 pre-written prompts to choose from to continue developing the image. Let's choose the second one. Show the soldiers whispering to each other in anticipation. Me. Oh no, these are the images we created yesterday for the temple. elaborating on the first one. Listen, you're using earlier phases of our chat instead of generating a new image focusing on the Trojan horse. Let me try again. I'll remove the waiting, command, and night. So now, prompt, Copilot, please create an image of the Greek soldiers inside the Trojan horse. Clearly, you're still showing the images we created yesterday. This time, the temple in 2050. Something weird is going on. Let's try a whole new chat. But this function is disabled. Okay, I'm going to do some research to understand the situation. I'll also check what ChatGPT does when I'm asking it to visualize the soldiers inside the horse. Me. Hi, ChatGPT. Prompt. Create an image of the Trojan horse inside Troy that looks like a photo. ChatGPT. Quote. Here is the image of the Trojan horse inside the ancient city of Troy, rendered to look like a photograph. Let me know if you'd like any adjustments. Me. Create an image of the Greek soldiers inside the Trojan horse at night, waiting for the command to exit it. ChatGPT. Under this image. Here is the image of the Greek soldiers inside the Trojan horse at night, waiting for the command to exit. The scene captures the tension and anticipation. Let me know if you'd like any modifications. Me. Visualize the soldiers inside this horse. ChatGPT. Here is the image of the Greek soldiers inside the wooden Trojan horse. The scene captures their tense anticipation as they wait in the cramped, dimly lit interior. Let me know if you'd like any changes. Me. Create an image of these soldiers waiting in this interior without the horse. ChatGPT. Here is the image of Greek soldiers waiting in a dark, cramped wooden interior without the Trojan horse context. The scene captures their tense anticipation and readiness for battle. Let me know if you'd like any adjustments. Stockholm. Codex Gigas, giant book, also known as the Devil's Bible, is the biggest medieval manuscript in the whole world. It was probably created between 1204 and 1230 by a monk named Hermann in the Benedictine monastery in medieval Bohemia, today Czech Republic or Czechia. A self-portrait of the author is included at the beginning of the codex, which you can see here. The codex contains the Old and New Testaments, two works of Josephus Flavius, Isidore of Seville's Etymologies, a textbook for teaching medicine, the Chronicle of the Bohemians, a long and detailed list of the author's sins and his begging for forgiveness, and more. It's not clear if Hermann wrote the codex as a punishment while he was immured for his sins, or if he voluntarily wrote it in isolation. According to a legend associated with the book, Hermann, who was sentenced to death, promised to write the entire human knowledge in one night to save his life. His depiction of the devil in the book is a tribute to the latter's help. His depiction of the devil in the book is a tribute to the latter's help completing the task. During the Swedish siege of Prague at the end of the 30 Years' War in 1648, the manuscript was taken as war booty and transferred to Stockholm. Me. Copilot. It's a new day, and I'm going to check in now to see if you can generate new information. Let's try this. Prompt. What is the official definition of a city in Sweden? Copilot. In Sweden, the term city doesn't have an official administrative or legal definition. Instead, the concept of an urban area, or, I practiced this one, tätort, is used. A tätort is defined as a locality with a minimum of 200 inhabitants and can include cities, towns, or larger villages. For statistical purposes, larger urban areas with a minimum of 10,000 inhabitants are often referred to as cities or towns, stad in Swedish. Is there a specific city or urban area in Sweden you're interested in learning more about? Me. Good. Nice to have you back. Prompt. What is the largest urban area in Sweden, and what forms of spiritualism its inhabitants practice in 2024? Answer in bullet points. Okay, Copilot, I understand. The largest urban area is Stockholm, and you point out 4 major forms of spiritualism in Sweden. I was hoping to hear about spiritualism in the urban area. Anyway, here's a new prompt. Create a map of Stockholm, urban area, that clearly shows the location of the Christian churches in it. Use the color red to mark the location of the churches. Copilot. I created a map of Stockholm, urban area, with the locations of several Christian churches marked in red. You can view and interact with the map by clicking the link below. Indeed, it gave me a link, and when I clicked it, I got the map. If you need more details or have other requests, feel free to ask. Me. Thanks, Copilot. Indeed, you included some of Stockholm's churches on the map. Now, prompt. Add the location of the National Library of Sweden to the map you created. Mark it with a blue sign. Keep the red signs of the churches on the map. Then mark the shortest route between the National Library and its closest church. Color this route in yellow. Copilot. I have updated the map to include the location of the National Library of Sweden, marked with a blue sign. The red signs for the churches are still present, and the shortest route between the National Library and its closest church is marked in yellow. You can view and interact with the updated map by clicking the link below. If you need any more details or have other requests, feel free to ask. Me. Copilot. I asked Google Maps to show the location of Adolf Friedrich's Church, which you pointed out as the closest to the National Library, as well as the latter's location. Its output is different than yours. It will be easy to see this difference when we overlay the 2 maps. First, Google Maps locates both sites in different places. Accordingly, the National Library is east rather than west of the church, and the distance between the two sites is significantly longer. In any case, prompt. I'd like to visit the National Library in Sweden to research big medieval manuscripts. Are there any big medieval manuscripts at the library? I'm interested in researching 2 books only. Answer in 50 words maximum. Copilot. Yes, the National Library of Sweden houses significant medieval manuscripts, including the Codex Gigas, the Devil's Bible, and the Codex Aureus. Both are renowned for their size and historical importance. Enjoy your research. If you need more details, feel free to ask. Thanks, Copilot. Now prompt. Find 2 original illustrations from Codex Aureus on the internet and show them. One of them should be the cover of the Codex. Copilot. Here are 2 original illustrations from the Codex Aureus of Lorsch. And when you click them, you get 1 page in Wikipedia, not images. Still Copilot. These images highlight the exquisite artistry of this medieval manuscript. If you need more information or have other requests, feel free to ask me. Copilot, you are referring me to Codex Aureus of Lorsch that is in the Vatican Library, and I'm interested in the one in Stockholm. Now, from reading the information on the Library of Congress website, I understand that the Codex Aureus in Stockholm is 39 by 32 centimeters, which makes it quite ordinary, and it doesn't have an illustrated cover at all. Anyway, everyone, here are 2 illustrations from it, from the Codex in Stockholm, before we move on to our last city for today. Montreal. I visited Montreal for the first time this June. I traveled there to give the talk teaching about deepfake in digital history course at the annual meeting of the Canadian Society for Digital Humanities, which took place at Congress 2024 at the University of Montreal. This is where our society met. I had a good time, and Saturday, the 22nd, was a special day when I had plenty of time to discover the city before my train left for Toronto. I saw the exhibition Saints, Sinners, Lovers, and Fools, 300 years of Flemish masterpieces at the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts. Walked around, meditated at Christchurch Cathedral, had noodles for lunch at Phillips Square, and then ice cream, which I bought at Ben and Jerry's at Place Ville-Marie. Me. Copilot. Create an image of a woman sitting outdoors at a city square, eating an ice cream cone and sharing small bites with sparrows. Make it a sunny day with several clouds in the sky. The woman wears jeans, a t-shirt, sneakers, and sunglasses. She looks happy. Thanks, Copilot. And now everyone, I'm talking with you. You have 2 images here. What is our, oh, we have plenty of time. So I want to ask you to look at those images and in the chat, share with us which one you like most. Think about the prompt and the image. Which one you think is better or you like, or any insight about the images. If you think something about the cities or the interaction between the woman and the birds, the design of the woman, anything that catches your eyes is legitimate and very welcome. Let's have some moments to observe them and then Steve says that they are the same for the most part. Thank you for your cooperation, everyone. It's lovely to read. Ah, Lilian, you didn't specify the race. Yes, both are white presenting women. Yes, I want you to think, thank you. I want you to think critically. Left one, MB. Jacob, shadows are a thing. I always look at the shadows. It's one of the first things I'm looking at when I look at AI images. Okay. Thank you, everyone. And if you want to share insights later on, feel free. I'm continuing, okay? Copilot, I'm saying. You're also offering me 3 pre-written prompts. Let's try the third one. Change the woman's hairstyle to long and wavy. Sounds interesting. Everyone, we can discuss this image later on. I would love to hear what you think about it. Part of my talk at the conference in Montreal was about my encouragement of using creativity, problem solving, and entrepreneurial mindset in the course assessments. In my opinion, developing confidence in answering open-ended questions relating to society and new technology is necessary. And giving students and faculty the resources and support needed to take this path is essential as well. Copilot prompt. Propose a business idea that will use AI to solve a problem in creating accurate historical knowledge. The historical knowledge must be of the city of Montreal. Write 2 business ideas in bullet points. What Copilot gives here, I'll just summarize, is the first idea is AI-powered historical reconstruction platform. I think virtual, it doesn't say, but this is what I understand. And the second one, AI-enhanced oral history project. I'm focusing on the latter, which collects, transcribes, and analyzes oral histories. These are usually audio and video recorded interviews from Montreal's diverse communities to identify patterns, themes, and connections across different narratives. So think about recordings, audio and video, and that AI can point out especially patterns. Okay, this, Copilot says, can provide a comprehensive and nuanced understanding of the city's social and cultural history. Prompt. Identify one non-verbal pattern the oral history business would track throughout its data, because there are many non-verbal phenomena in recording, like silence and so on. Explain the importance of this non-verbal pattern for the history of Montreal. Answer in 30 words maximum. Copilot. Gestures and body language. Tracking these can reveal cultural norms, social interactions, and community dynamics, offering deeper insights into Montreal's diverse heritage and evolving societal behaviors. Me, prompt. Design a logo for this oral history business. The logo must include the name of the business that should be relevant to AI, history, and body language. Use red, blue, green, purple, and yellow in the logo. Thanks, Copilot. Last question. Prompt. Can an AI oral history business be profitable in the second quarter of the 21st century? Answer by creating an image only. The image should show either a thumb up or a thumb down. Thank you. I stop sharing. And happy to hear you. Any thoughts, impressions, questions, anything you want to share? Happy to hear.
Thank you, Dr. Yaari. I actually have a question of my own. So
Sure.
I guess like, do you think that ChatGPT shows gaps in our knowledge that is on the internet through which it collects the data, or is it just a linguistic maybe problem that it has trouble understanding a bit more of what we intend for it to understand?
Okay, so you're talking about ChatGPT. ChatGPT
Sorry,
tried,
Copilot.
yes, although ChatGPT was also had a role in the conversation with the Trojan horse. So no, you're asking about gaps that it fills gaps. You said you give again the two options that you please.
So is it that like the gaps that are in the knowledge that's on the internet, because that's where it scans from, or is it like, does it just have trouble understanding linguistics and the way we use it?
I would say, first of all, in terms of trouble to understand, let's say, the meaning of the words.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to think about the word understand. We know that it doesn't understand like we understand. It doesn't have the depth or the life experience and the context that we use to understand things, right? I don't think it really understands, but it tries to find the most probable answer statistically based on the data sets it was trained on. And now I understand also the information that is out there in real time. I thought previously that it's not part of the information it processes, but now I understand from Microsoft explanation that it is. So as to your question, based on the answers that I got, the visual and the verbal answers, it doesn't understand what I'm really looking for. Sometimes it does, but it seems like it's looking for information that is the best in that moment without knowing whether it's the correct answer. It doesn't seem like it has, between it and itself, my feeling, and I'm not a professional in AI, I need to say, I'm using my understanding based on my experience and what I learned. It doesn't feel it has a profound feedback to tell it it's not the right book. She asked you about this codex in Stockholm, so don't refer it to codex in Rome. I know it's supposed to be there in engineeringly speaking, but it doesn't feel, from the user's point of view, it doesn't feel that it has a sufficient mechanism to tell it, do not share mistakes that are obvious. And I think that this one, as an example, is an obvious mistake that I hope, let's say, if you want to have good AI, I hope it will be able to detect that it's not the right answer. And that's the same with the visual material. As to gaps of knowledge on the internet, I don't know what you mean by gaps of knowledge. If it's between, where is the gap between me and what I want to know, between me and you, between all of us? I don't think it really creates knowledge, first of all. I felt that if I use traditional research methods, I can come up with better answers. Research is to close those gaps, right? You collect information and logically you create something new. Let's say this is closing gaps, creating new knowledge. So no, I don't think that the creativity there is really taking pieces that are available and mixing them in a way that now it really creates knowledge where it was empty between those pieces. And one of the reasons is, back to my previous point and your second question, I don't think it has, at least yet, that thing that echoes back, yes, it's a good, you covered it well. Yeah?
Got it. Yeah, understood. Thank you.
Thank you. I saw another hand.
There are some questions in the chat, and
Yeah.
maybe we can discuss those until maybe they raise their hand again.
Sure.
Which is, first is, how would you suggest that we get most accurate results possible from mapping or geospatial prompts?
Jacob's question, how would you suggest we get the most accurate results possible for mapping? It reminds me the Noor's question. I don't know where the information, thinking about the map that I got from Copilot, identifying the locations of churches, several churches in Stockholm. I don't know where it takes the information from. We saw that it doesn't know to identify all the churches. There are many more churches that it didn't point out. And the ones that and we already know that one of them, the one that I focused on, which was supposedly closest to the National Library, it was not in the right place. How to correct it? I don't know. I don't think that I'm not a computer scientist, but knowing the technologies that we already have, it surprised me to see that it doesn't locate all the churches, and one of them that I checked is not in the right place. I don't know how to make it a better locator in space and mapping. But I guess that people are already working on it. And I don't think that it should be difficult, considering what we already use. Does anyone want to ask their question unmuted? Sul, I hope I pronounce it correctly. I was also wondering your thoughts on putting our digitally generated models into real-time maps. For example, it seems like our GIS city engine has the capability. I can only repeat my answer. I don't know technically how Copilot gathers the information it has from different maps and how to integrate it with other technologies.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Sure.
Yeah, my name is Sule. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to
Hi.
meet you.
So my first question was about the AI training or trainings that I'm a landscape architect and urban designer working at Hatch engineering company. So I really want to integrate AI into our daily practice to have something visually effective or project management or coordination activities practice. So this question just appears in my mind all the time recently. So I wanted to share with you, and if you have any thoughts, and it will be so helpful.
What are you trying to achieve using AI?
You know, we have digital models, we create models, we create designs. So I really want to see them as part of real 3D maps, as part of real time environments. So I think this will be the next step for all the designers, architects, and creators. But I just discovered ArcGIS. It's just has kind of capability of doing this kind of models, digital models. The combination of what we create and digital models and the real life and the real 3D maps.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if they use AI or not, but I just, this question is in my mind, it just repeats. And I just wondered if you know anything about this and any thoughts on this.
Not right now, but no, but I can look for it and we can correspond on this. I know these tools exist, but I don't have an example right now. How to render, I guess, from 2D to 3D? Is that the goal?
We have 3D, we have 3D models, but just just wondering how we see them in real life projects, because maybe this is very detailed. I don't want to waste your time, but you can answer later on.
Sure.
I just wanted to share and ask my question while you were discovering the AI and creating cities and by using Copilot. Also, Copilot is part of our system at Hatch. I learned really nice tools from you, nice things from you today. Thank you so much for sharing all of them with us.
You're very welcome. And I'm sorry that I can't answer more technical questions. My approach to Copilot and ChatGPT is of a user that wants to explore their abilities, answering questions that interest me and that relate to cities. And I also want to share with you all that my initial goal was to discuss future cities and future urban experiences much more than I did. One of the reasons is that I didn't feel that Copilot will generate information that is relevant and valuable about the future, while I was recognizing that it has issues with generating accurate information about the past and the present. So I felt that if I ask it questions about the future, the answers would be so hypothetical, and that I would not have any tools to evaluate them. I can always compare what it says about the past and the present with other sources, as you saw, either, let's say, comparing it with what Google Maps shows. But to ask it a question about the future seems meaningless to me at a certain point, because I can't have a different source about the future and compare it to compare with. By the way, I also want to say I can take hypothetical studies or predictions and use them to compare to evaluate what Copilot offers regarding the future. However, there are some recent changes in the platform. So some of the files that I wanted to upload to Copilot so that it analyze them. Some of these functions were disabled. So I also learned that there were things that I wanted to use, like methods, but was not able. So there are some updates that we have to be aware of. And while I was working on the presentation, some of the functions were disabled and returned after a day or two. So it's not something that from your point of view you can see or you understand. I don't say, oh, I'm asking it this question, or I'm not asking something that interested me because there were some technical issues, but there were some considerations that influenced the overall dialogue or story. Lorena, are you there? If so, do you want to ask your question? I don't know if she can unmute herself. Okay. Everyone?
I don't think Lorena she might have some problems with her mic, I think. But I think Haydn Wong has another message. Where he says, does this reflect Windows' use of OpenStreetMap and the lack of information of Windows Map? And then I'm looking at some Wikipedia summaries, and it's just seeing where it pulls data from.
I see. I am looking at Bing Maps, and Wikipedia summaries are generated for some parks in Stockholm, but not for businesses where it pulls data from TripAdvisor or other sites. Might explain the weird map it generated where the park was selected. Hayden, do you want to explain what you're trying to explore here? I'd be happy to hear you. Okay, I don't know if there is a question here. All right. Noor,
Yes.
maybe we can summarize.
Mhm. Summarize the question.
No, I'm not sure what the question tries to figure out, and I don't know if Aiden is there. So,
Okay. Sorry. I think his question was sort of similar to mine in that are the questions really, is it creating this information, or is it just is there not enough information from certain types of places where they can pull where Copilot pulls this information from? So is it TripAdvisor? Is it Bing Maps? I think that's what he's trying to search for.
I don't know where it takes its information from. I can tell you that some of it was identical to what Google Maps showed, and some of it seemed to be hallucinations, like locating churches where we're in the wrong place, or not pointing out churches that are there, or, for example, marking the shortest route while crossing buildings. So I don't know, like in any other hallucinations, I don't know where the information comes from where we see hallucination. I don't have an explanation for it. And I don't know if anyone has an exact explanation what generates information we know doesn't exist somewhere else. Probably. Why it generates something that we know is not there? Why it has this form and not another? Why it's this mistake and not any other mistake, where there are endless ways to be wrong? Why is it wrong this way? I don't know. It's fascinating, but I have no explanation for it, and I am not sure that any other person knows exactly why a mistake looks as it does.
I guess then just before we wrap up, there's another question that was posed before, which was then how can we prevent the misuse of AI tools so that we aren't misinterpreting what's been said to us?
How where is it?
How do we prevent the misuse of AI tools?
Okay, what I wanted to discuss, everyone, and I also wanted you to think about the two images of the woman that we saw. I'll use this one as an example of misuse. I don't know if misuse is someone, for example, creates deep fake, if this is misuse or something else. I'll take the example that I showed with the women in the square. I found that they are extremely thin, way too thin that I would like to see as a representation of a woman. Someone said that the woman is white without me asking Copilot to generate a woman from a certain race or ethnical group or so on and so forth. Its automatic answer was a white woman. But I recognized that there was another feature there that I didn't ask and that it used. It's the form of her body that was, as I said before, extremely thin. And in the last years or even decades, People, women, feminist movement try to convince companies and media to show women with different forms, different kinds of bodies, so that women will feel good with their body. But this one seemed to me like going back and not considering the hard work that was done or has been done in terms of accepting everyone as they are, and that people accept themselves and feel good with their body. And so I don't know if the misuse that you talked about is by users, but I felt that this is another example that we should be aware of, the representation of women, color, and definitely the form of their body.
Yeah, I think that answers the questions. And if we'll scan the chat, if there are any more, we'll send it over to you.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for joining us, and thank you everybody as well. I think we'll call it here.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a
Okay.
great day.